What's up, YouTube? So I've been wondering lately about the general platform fighter space. With a lot of games coming up and a lot of games going down, it's been a question on my mind lately. What is the best platform fighter in 2025? So I was thinking about it, and I couldn't really make a decision on my own. Like, which one's the most fun to watch? Which one's the most fun to play? You know, has the most content, is relevant? But I thought all of that stuff didn't matter too much. Ultimately, I just wanted to find out which platform fighter is the best in 2025, because that matters a lot. Some games are really good a couple years ago, but you know, the landscape has changed, and you know, I think it'd be good to kind of think about how I feel about the landscape nowadays. Not only am I going to make a tier list, I'm going to have a guest or two pop up because I asked them the exact same question. So let's get into it. Now, the games here are Smash 64, Melee, Brawl, Smash 4, Smash 4 3DS, Ultimate, Brawlhalla, Multiverses, Rivals 1, Slap City, Fraymakers, Brawlout. You guys can't really see those. Fraymakers, Brawlout, Flash Party, Rushdown Revolt, NASB 1, NASB 2, Cartoon Network, Punch Time Explosion, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, Kung Fu Panda, blah 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 blah, PM, I think this is like Smash Crusade or something, Smash Flash 2, Indie Pogo, and Rivals 2. Now, I haven't played these three. The only one I think I'm really going to rank is Smash Flash 2. I also have not really played Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion. And I don't know what this Kung Fu Panda game is. I'm pretty sure it's a fake game. But we'll watch some videos on it, maybe get like a 1-minute opinion. So let's start from the top. Smash 64. Now, Smash 64 is iconic. It kind of set the tone for the genre, in my opinion. But I don't really think it's that good. I think Smash 64 has had its time. I think if you played it nowadays, you probably wouldn't have a great time. It's really hard to get into. But it has a lot of legacy. I think it's still like very important for what it is and what it was. So I'm gonna put Smash 64 smack in the middle. Bam. B tier. Doesn't belong any higher. I think it doesn't belong any lower. The game has so much history and love put into it, and it really created this entire genre, if you think about it. All right, next up, Melee. No, I actually think Melee is an incredible game with incredible history. Not only is it one of the most fun platform fighters to play, it's one of the most fun platform fighters to watch. The community has been going for 20 years strong. I initially thought I might have put this in like A tier, but I kind of think it's an S tier game. I think Melee 100% is an S tier game. When you think about platform fighters in 2025, the fact that you still think about Melee so much, even it's created history outside of the platform fighter community. You ever hear people use the term wombo combo? It's from Melee. It started from Melee. But I wouldn't put Melee up here if it wasn't still going as strong, if not stronger. And I gotta say, as soon as I thought Melee would have been S tier and the competition was won, I almost started crying. You know? Like, I just knew Melee was 100% a winner here. Melee, very up there. Accessibility, I think if you count accessibility as well, Melee is actually one of the most accessible platform fighters out there, thanks to Slippy. So I think that's a big deal, but I won't factor it too much. Next up is Brawl. If you don't know, I actually think Brawl is the best platform fighter, just in general. But I think Brawl in 2025 is pretty, like, not that great. There's not really a scene going on. There's not like a bunch of community, but Brawl has a ton of legacy. I think it did a plethora of things right outside of being like the best competitive game out there. And I think that's okay. Yeah, nobody's gonna go and play Brawl in 2025, but people will still go and watch videos about Brawl in 2025. People will still talk about Brawl in 2025. People will still reminisce about it, and I think Brawl did a much better job than Smash 64 in almost every department. I think it is a typical high-tier platform fighter. So, Brawl for sure, a very high-tier platform fighter for me. And even throughout the years, I don't think it has. You're just not really going to go play it. So, that's okay. You know, you're not going to play everything on this list. Next up, Smash for Wii U. I think this game sucks. I think this game is not good. I think there was almost nothing to do in the game. The best part of the game to me was Cloud getting added, but the game, not that good. The history, not that good. Personally, I think there's more of a reason to play Brawl in 2025 than to play Smash 4. So for me, I wouldn't say it's like Omega ultra bad. I don't think I'd really put any platform fighter on that tier, but I'm gonna put it in C tier. But thank you, Smash 4, for giving me a career and kind of jump-starting me making content. I will owe you my heart, but I will not look back at you with rose-tinted glasses. I do not think my time and many others' times playing that game was that enjoyable. But Smash 4 on the 3DS? Yo, Smash 4 on the 3DS was heat. It was so awesome. Being able to play Smash on the go, playing Smash at work, in classrooms, like randomly at a park. I think Smash on the 3DS was amazing. It did everything right, and the only thing it did wrong was come out before Smash 4. If people didn't have to move on with like Smash 4, like, oh my god, Smash for 3DS was so peak. It was actually so peak. I see clips of people playing Smash for 3DS recently. I don't see clips of people playing Smash 4. We ain't got nothing we want to watch in Smash 4. Even nowadays, I would actually think you can still play Smash for 3DS. There's still not like a whole lot that you can do. It's just something that came with Smash 4. I think the single player content just kind of went down. Ultimate, I think Ultimate's good. I don't think it's great. Single player content pretty lacking. It's still very accessible. You can still find matches online. I still see it getting played at parties here and there. It's very clearly like in the mainstream audience. A lot of people don't like the competitive meta right now, but I think the competitive meta is still very interesting. It's interesting enough to where it'll get people to watch tournaments. It's not like the same people winning. It's had enough mix-ups to where I think it is still a very interesting spectator sport. It is still very interesting casually. Oh my god, am I giving it S or A? Do I really think Ultimate is an S tier game? I do. I think my own personal biases make me want to put it lower, but the only game, in my opinion, that outdoes what Ultimate does in the gaming space is Fortnite. I think Fortnite does like so much collabs and music and even like more game modes now. That's the one thing Ultimate doesn't have. But the fact that I can even compare Ultimate to Fortnite in terms of like the collabs, the characters, the music, I think makes Ultimate one of the greatest games of all time. My heart would put it lower, but I know from the bottom of my heart that Ultimate is an S tier game. All right, Brawlhalla, here's where things get dicey. I have never played more than one game of Brawlhalla. Every time I see Brawlhalla pros talk about the game, it is not a good thing. I don't think they like their game very much. But I'm actually gonna put Brawlhalla pretty high. I think Brawlhalla is at least in B tier. They've had a competitive scene that's been going on for years with a good amount of money. They have a pretty consistent player base. They have really good collabs. I personally think the game is really fun to watch. The craziest thing that Brawlhalla did is they released a collab with SpongeBob, if I'm not mistaken, being like a playable character, on the exact same day Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2 came out. And if that doesn't tell you how big like some of the back-end people think Brawlhalla is, I don't know what to tell you, man. In my opinion, Brawlhalla also has the biggest global community I've ever seen in a platform fighter. If I knew more about Brawlhalla, I would put it in A tier free. I think it is 100% an A tier contender. People in the platform fighter space that I come from, I think we make fun of Brawlhalla a lot, but from the Multiversus beta, I've put a little more time into like watching the game when the Brawlhalla Championship Series come on, and like kind of just seeing more of the stuff on Twitter. And I don't know, I like Brawlhalla a lot. From just a complete spectator point of view, I like the game a lot. I think it has a lot going well for it. It's free to play, so I think if you want to get into platform fighters and you just have like a PC, try it out. Okay, multiverses. I was dreading this. I don't know where to put this. Clearly, you guys know I love multiverses. I enjoyed playing it a lot, but on the scope, or not on the scope, on the scale of platform fighters in 2025, I think this game is very great to play. The last season is doing a really good job. But this game is also going to become low-key more unplayable than Smash for Wii U. It's a hard placement. I think I'm going to put it in C tier because I still think it did a ton of stuff correct, but it did a lot of stuff wrong. If we combine the beta and the release, I would put it in C tier. I think the beta, for sure, was an S tier game. It kind of botched the release pretty hard. I still liked it, but if I'm like the only guy liking it, I think it's not so hot. So I think all things considered, especially with the fact that the end of service has been announced, I think MVS is a C tier game. As much as I do love it and I hate to put it there, I think that's just what it is. Okay, I'm actually really excited for this one. Rivals of Aether. Rivals of Aether, I think, never got a lot of the, I guess, recognition that it could have. But you have to admit, one, this game's super awesome, super fun, really enjoyable to watch. Like, cool characters, cool combos, cool platform fighter mechanics for you diehards. But there's one thing Rivals of Aether does better than any game on this list. Workshop. You can play as almost any character in Rivals of Aether, play online, and have somebody play as whoever they want. I think you might have to have the same files. But Rivals of Aether Workshop alone is like an S tier game. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. I think the fact that you can still play it, the fact that it's really fun, really snappy, the fact that you can still go back and like, I could grind Rivals of Aether 1 right now and play Workshop. Like, I love playing the chess pieces. I fought against Alpharad's Ronald McDonald that has JoJo's like stands while I'm playing 100% accurate Meta Knight. Like, this game is peak. I think Rivals of Aether is in my top, my tippity top tier because it just brings something to the table that no other platform fighter has in an amazing, super fun way. But not only that, the actual game itself is really fun too. So I'm gonna put Rivals of Aether in S tier. All right, Slap City. I have never played it before. I know when it came out, I was too busy thinking about grinding Smash 4, so I never really put time into it. But here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. I don't know if there's like a big community for it either anymore. So I wouldn't say that it's that great within 2025. So I can't give it too high of a rating. But let's watch an Alpharad video from 6 minutes ago for 3 minutes. And let's decide where we want to put it. Watch a tournament set? No.
That's me.
I think I've seen enough. Let's put Slap City in B tier. I think it's a B tier. Okay, Framemakers. I've only seen bits and pieces of Framemakers.
Is Framemakers better?
Oh my god, look, it's the guy from Slap City.
And it just did not do good. But did it get better since?
Dude, it has the Silent from, or not, it has the Watcher from Slay the Spire. And this game looks so cool.
But if you are looking for my short answer to if Framemakers is a better game, yes, Framemakers is definitely better. Every update has made the game closer to the promise made in the Kickstarter of being the celebration of indie games in a platform fighter format.
Okay, this is a pretty good video. All right, that being said, I'll give Framemakers a C. If the game is fun to play and the online sucks, I think that's okay. I think that's a lot. Yeah, it seems like it has a really good idea. It looks like it's not really there yet, but it seems like something, it's like the reverse of MVS. If MVS is moving down, Framemakers might be moving up. Okay, Brawlout. There's no way Brawlout's D tier. This game is 7 years old. Oh, an Alpharad video. Flunky. This is a 4-minute review.
The game is developed and published by Angry Mob Games, and the easiest way to describe Brawlout is to call it the Super Smash Bros. Clone, but without the Nintendo characters. Now, if you don't have a Nintendo console and you can't get Super Smash Bros., then you might...
Just explain platform fighters. Okay, thanks, Steve.
Which is usually not
oh my god,
tea, but for a game like
who are those
this,
guys?
I actually like the graphics. The animations too, by the way.
It's not Ukulele,
you can see
right?
some of the funny animations that the game's got.
This sound design is horrible. Bro, this is not a 7 out of 10. That is not a 7 out of 10 sound design.
I mean,
this game looks like it
also
sucks.
influenced the way you play, but for the most
I think
part,
I've seen
it's
enough.
the characters.
Yeah, I think that's a D tier game. I think Flash Party's pretty good. It's accessible. When I played it, I had a good time. There was a lot of depth. I did like a sponsored tournament for them once, and it was really weird. It felt a little clunky to get into. But one thing that was really strange, you guys can ask, or you guys can tell me, is it still like this? Do you still have to like power up your characters? Like you can actually like genuinely power up your characters? Yeah, there's some pay to win stuff, right? They removed the power creep. Did they? Did they? For sure, I think Flash Party belongs between B and A tier. Give it an A. I think I'll give it a B. I think I'll give it a B. Because when I played it, it was a little weird. But I definitely still think it's like a good game. If you have it on your list to play, I think you should give it a try. Free to play. You can play it on PC. You can play it on your phone, if I'm not mistaken. Like, I just think the game being what it is and still kicking is really important. And again, it's a mobile game, but it feels really good. It feels really, really good. Okay, Rushdown Revolt. Is this game dead? I think this game's dead. It's pretty dead. That's tough. I think it deserves B. When I played it, it felt like a game that had the things I wanted in platform fighters, but it didn't have a soul. I don't know how to explain it. Had the mechanics and zero presentation. Yeah, for me, I didn't enjoy Rushdown Revolt for that reason. God, it's like I wanted to try the game out, and I was talking to like some of the devs or the good players, and I just wanted to like, you know, enjoy the game and play it and like kind of figure things out. But it's like people were like, oh, hey, you're Void. You'd like if you knew about this mechanic and that mechanic and this mechanic, and if you did this combo and that combo. And I'm like, I just want to play the game, man. So my own experience with the game did not, it was not very enjoyable. But it wasn't the game's fault. Yeah, it felt like things were there, but it just didn't feel like it had a soul. So I think I'd actually give it a D. A couple years ago, I think I'd probably put it in like B tier, honestly, B at least. The game is fun to watch too, but I think right now it's a lot more of like a D tier game. All right, I've been waiting for this. NASB 1. This is probably my favorite platform fighter to play ever. But the game is kind of ass. You're not really playing it in 2025. There's NASB 2 that's out. NASB 2 did a lot of things pretty well. I think it's definitely one of those getting cycled. There's not really a reason to play NASB 1 anymore, unless you want to play some of the characters that are in NASB 1. So I'm just going to put NASB 1 in B tier. It still exists. I still love it a lot. But I just think NASB 2 is better. All right, NASB 2. Yeah, I just think NASB 1 did everything better. I'm kidding. I actually like NASB 2 a lot. I like NASB 2 a lot. There's not really a big player base nowadays. It's pretty small. Not really a big player base, not really big viewership, but they still have like a good amount of DLC characters. I think the single player is really enjoyable. It's like a roguelike platform fighter. It's something that Combo Devils is going to be doing. I think that the platform fighter community will look back on this game a lot more fondly, and I think it'll get more chances because the game feels really good to play. The characters are really cool. There were some things that feel a little strange about it, but ultimately, I think because of the big heist that was NASB 1, if you don't know, this game released with like so many bugs. It felt pretty unfinished. I thought it was amazing to play, but there was so much more about the game than just like how it feels. And NASB 1 did everything else wrong. So people didn't really give NASB 2 a chance, and that's so justified. So as a game itself, I think NASB 2 is really good. If you wanted to play it, probably buy it when it's on sale and maybe have some friends to try it out with, because the roster is still really cool. It's really enjoyable to see a bunch of Nickelodeon characters in a platform fighter. So I would advocate for NASB 2 even in 2025. Cartoon Network Punch Time Explosion. This is another game that I have not played, but I'm just going to put it in C tier because I think that's really funny. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Okay, I think this game is peak. Tell me what's wrong about this game. If the balance was better. If we're making a tier list based off of balance, we ain't making the same tier list. Hear me out. The online was pretty good. The roster of characters was pretty good. It wasn't like a typical, like, traditional platform fighter, which is okay. But it did something that Multiverses did pretty well way before Multiverses, like almost a decade before. and that's being able to play 2v2s online in a platform fighter. And I thought that was amazing for its time. Now, I'm actually going to give it C tier because you're not really playing this game in 2025, and there's not really much to do regarding it. I feel like the game was a lot more fun. PM. I think PM is pretty up there. I think the game itself just looks really fun. The original characters and kits that they have is really cool. Not a lot of content, but I think it's a game that kind of got done dirty many times throughout its years. Now it's Project Plus, which this just doesn't have P+. But PM, very up there. Amazing community. Amazing tournament sets. Ton of history. S tier. I wouldn't put it in S tier. For me, PM is not an S tier game, which isn't really like a bad thing. But it does so much right when it comes to platform fighters that I wish there was an official game that was like PM. And with that being said, Rivals of Aether 2. Low-key, an official game that's kind of like PM. And I'll put that in S tier. I think Rivals 2 is pretty much like an S tier, or not like an S tier, a little bit more accessible PM. Yeah, legal PM. Where Rivals 2, it has a very good content roadmap. I would say the release wasn't everything I wanted it to be. There's still like a good amount of things missing. But there's a very good roadmap for the next year. There's a DLC character coming out in like a month. One of the games where it's very easy to get into right now. You can queue up online, find matches really easily. Good roster. The game feels very enjoyable to play. The game is very enjoyable to watch. And the storylines are being crafted right now. We're being a part of history when it comes to Rivals of Aether 2. So, Rivals of Aether 2, 100%, I think, is an S tier game. Kind of rounding out the S tier here. I'll put it like this. Yeah, it's going to be at EVO too. Hashtag ad. I wish they paid me to talk up their game. I said the same thing about Multiverses. Now, out of the last few, I haven't really played any of these, and I'm not going to watch too much on them, because I just don't think they fit the list, except Crusade, maybe, but I haven't even heard of this until right now, which is kind of crazy for me. But Super Smash Flash 2, I'm going to put it in B tier. I think Smash Flash is actually like super duper peak from what I see. It wasn't really in my era. I don't even know, is it active nowadays? You know, I've had a lot of people talk it up throughout my time as a streamer, time as a content creator. Only heard good things. I think 100% it is minimum B and maximum A. I wish I was going to school and playing Smash Flash like in class. You know, it feels like I genuinely missed one of the greatest games that I could have, but it is what it is. So I can't put it any lower because I know what it could have been for me. This is my tier list of platform fighters in 2025, both based off of how good it was, how good it currently is. You know, is it going down? Is it going up? Is it, do you have a good time playing it, or do you have a good time watching it? Kind of combining all of those factors and placing it somewhere on this list. I know it's not like one-to-one accurate. Some things might have gotten like moved a little differently, but for sure, I think if you want to get into a platform fighter, if you got into any of these three right now, because Rivals of Aether, this is great with your friends. The Workshop, great with your friends, but I think it might be a little harder just like normally, but I still think it deserves S tier. But if you picked up any of these three games, even nowadays for Melee, Ultimate, and Rivals of Aether, I think you'd have a really good time. And if you wanted to like get into like some of the other stuff, Brawlhalla would also potentially be like really great to pick up. But for me, I would just put it in the A tier. All in all, I think platform fighters are in a pretty good spot right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if it got a lot better. But okay, give me 1 second. I'm gonna ask for a cameo.
3 hours later.
So, you guys heard my opinion, but I have a special guest here today to tell you his opinion on what he thinks the best platform fighters are in 2025. EE, come on through, ma.
Big Phil is here.
So I asked Phil to do the exact same tier list.
Yep.
Pretty much same criteria. And yeah, I mean, let's just compare and contrast. So let's look at his list, and we'll look at his list a little more before we go to my list.
I like my list. Good.
I like your list too. All right, so let's start from the bottom. We have pretty similar ones.
Yep.
You never played Flash Party?
Never. Well, I've seen people play it, but that wasn't enough for me to form an opinion. The reason I put never played was I could watch a trailer for it, but I felt like if I didn't play it myself, it wouldn't be a fair shoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
that's super good.
we've all seen trailers that look good and the game sucks.
Okay, so Brawlout, Rushdown, Revolt, D tier, huh?
Okay, but do you disagree with any of them?
No.
Okay, because my idea for Brawlout was I just think it was a poor game, and then Rushdown Revolt is literally just the skeleton of icons that they just grave robbed, turned it into a hyper intensive. You gotta grind this shit out to even try and be remotely good. And who has like, if you're gonna make a platform fighter game, market it within the Smash community, you have to have something that's a good barrier of entry. Who wants to put in all the effort to be good at that game while you still have your main game on the side?
Exactly.
It's terrible marketing, and that guy Keiko is a gym.
All right, C tier.
You know what? And this is what I need to talk to you. You should have had it MVS and MVS beta.
Where would you put the beta?
The beta had A tier potential.
Okay.
I would have and I would have A tiered it off of its potential.
Okay.
It is insane what that game could have been. You look at how Evo went, that prize pool, the celebrities who were playing the game too, bro. Some of the biggest content creators just randomly playing RDC World, Caleb City, rappers like Wale, I think ASAP Rocky played at 1.2. He just beat a gun charge, by the way. Congratulations. The point is, okay, that game had unlimited potential, and then they fumbled it, embarrassing, and the product that they repurposed and gave us was garbage.
Where would you put that?
C.
You would put the re-release in C?
Yeah.
I think you might even put it in D, because it's dying soon, man.
So you know what? I had to give it some credit because it's still not as bad as those two. Like I in good conscience, I could not put it in. Even if it's getting shut down, it does not deserve to be down there with those.
Okay,
because there are some redeeming qualities, but like, dude, like some of the characters are just so damn goofy.
Yeah.
I mean, the character selection, Marvin the Martian, where's the Lord of the Rings characters, the Harry Potter characters, the Matrix? I mean, obviously you got Idris Elba, but like still, bro, it's just
there's
like,
a lot more that they could have done.
There was so much. Yeah.
Okay. I think I kind of agree. NASB 1? Oh, NASB 1 wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad, but it wasn't good enough to be in B. Like I had to look at it and I was like, okay, would I compare this more closely to my C or my B tiers? 100% my C tiers.
Okay.
There's no way I could put it with those B tiers.
All right, let's go on to B. I agree with pretty much everything else. Rivals of Aether 1.
Yes.
Okay, what about if it was Have you played Workshop?
Yeah, the Workshop was really cool.
Okay.
But you know what? And maybe I could have. It has an argument for A tier. I want to put that out. Like the A tier. We'll get to the A tier, but like for me, Rivals, like I liked how it was so unique in its presentation and design. I liked the no ledges. I liked the parry was a great defensive option because you didn't have shields. I don't think he had grabs too. Like he had some characters had command grabs. That was it. So it really played really unique. You know, even though I thought it was a cool, unique style, I did think the pixel animation got a little tiring at times, to be honest with you. So that's why I was like, I can't really put this at A.
Okay.
But if it's like, if I had to like tier my B's, it would be like B.
Okay.
It's a great game.
All right, PlayStation All-Stars.
I'm not gonna lie to you, nostalgia.
I put it pretty up there, and chat was low-key roasting me.
Nah, the chat are a bunch of friggin' zoomers.
Dude, I think that game's good.
That game is amazing.
I think PlayStation All-Stars did what MVS did first.
Okay.
Because you could play twos.
You could
play twos.
You could play dubs in that game.
Yeah.
It was encouraged.
It had a crazy roster that wasn't like Nintendo specific. I thought it was a great game.
Who did you main?
I played the Killzone guy, and I've never played a Killzone. His name was like Raditz. And then I played Raiden and some other guy.
I played Fat Princess and Sly Cooper.
Sly was really cool.
Yeah.
Dude, that game was heat.
Game was great.
Screw you guys.
I'm amazed that they haven't re-released it in any capacity.
I think PlayStation All-Stars 2 would be like the second coming of MVS.
It would bang, bro.
It'd be crazy.
As long as PlayStation are smart enough not to follow Riot's decision making to use multiverse as a blueprint and you know what I mean? Like I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. You know?
All right, A tier,
A tier, baby.
A tier, I think it makes sense.
A tier is fine. I mean, Brawlhalla, people are gonna argue it should have been like maybe S, but for me, I think A tier is fine. A tier is a great placing.
A tier is amazing.
The game itself, to me, while I'm not as big into it, it's a little too floaty and like the mechanics don't necessarily appeal to me. But great design on the characters. The stages look cool. The collabs have been amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. You could play The Undertaker and you could play Thor, like in the same game with those skins. Those collabs go crazy. The devs give a shit. They have a dedicated esports community, and it's got a casual fan base as well. Brawlhalla is amazing, and they've been around for a long time. I don't think people realize how long Brawlhalla has actually been around. Brawl.
It's Brawl.
It's Brawl. Nostalgia, you know, it was a complete departure from how Melee played, and I thought that was cool. I'm a big fan of like the text that you could do in that game. There was a lot of teching, a lot of tech specific stuff that I really appreciated. And I love the community, bro. Like, you know, God bless all his Brawl. You know, never resurrected, but God bless it. You know what I mean? Like, that is to the game that got me into any kind of like esports mentality. Because remember, a lot of people forget that's around the time Justin TV was a thing, and it was streaming events on there. It eventually became Twitch. And like, I think that's what helped propel Smash and MLG. Didn't hurt either.
I mean, S tier speaks for themselves, right?
I think it should. I mean, Melee is Melee. I made a joke on my stream. I was like, you know, C tier community, S tier game. So respect the game.
Then
right there.
Then what's ultimate?
B or C. We'll figure it out. Depends on my mood on the day.
For which one, the community or the game?
No comment, ma. I said no comment. It depends on the top 8. I'll tell you that right now, man. But I'm gonna give Ultimate his due, man. It's such a well polished game. I mean, obviously Steve runs amok. There's so many other amazing things. Like, when did we ever think we'd get a game that brings in everybody, let alone characters you never thought you'd see? Steve, you know what I'm saying? Sora. I mean, it's just insane what they did with that game. The Fighters Pass was really cool thing. Like, the marketing was just great. I mean, it's a 10 out of 10 game. Get out of here if you disagree. Project M. That's how me and TK got our start. Commentary. Project M. We were the Tuesday Night Delight back in the day at Xanadu.
Tuesday Night Delight. I did not know this.
That's wow. That was our original commentary name.
At Xanadu?
Yeah.
They did PM at Xanadu?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Before it got shafted for that one big Apex, which we were set to go and commentate the top 8, and then they scrapped PM. And that killed a lot of my love for it.
Yeah.
But I still think PM is amazing, and it will always hold.
And of course, Rivals 2.
Rivals 2 is just heat, bro. If you watch that top 6 at Genesis,
it's so good.
Why. It's got great storylines. It's the perfect game that mixes Ultimate players and Melee players with like dedicated rival heads. I don't think they could have done a sequel better. They
nailed it.
Not drop the ball. Great job.
So now you can look.
I don't want to say too for NASB 2 and B. I based that a lot on potential, because the game that came out I would have put C. The game it is now that I saw like 3 weeks ago is B. It's really good now.
Sick. All right. Well, here's mine. As you can see, it's pretty similar. You know, we got the same D tier.
Yep. Good man.
And we both have MVS and Wii U and C. I have PlayStation All Stars just because you're not really gonna play it anymore, and I want to bump it more. But I feel like I haven't even watched the game in so long.
That's fair.
I think Flash Party, because Flash Party is a mobile game platform fighter.
Right.
I think that's a big bump in my opinion, because it's still getting updates. And it's actually like it doesn't play like, when I think of like mobile game platform fighter, I think like pretty trash, I'll be honest. But it controls pretty well. I think it's pretty solid. So I put it up there. Another big difference, I have NASB 2 really high. I think that game is very fun to play. I think the controls are really good. I think it's still missing a bit, but it's still like having its lifespan. And I think it's in a pretty good spot, but you're just not really gonna play anybody.
Correct. That's why, like, for the potential, I was like, it needs to have like a really big tournament of some sort, and then like they capitalize off that. It doesn't have to blow up to like some epic proportion, but if you can get like sizable, consistent events, like how like 64 does, you know what I mean? Like, if you can even do that, that game I think has the potential to stick around. For a while. It's really good now.
Exactly. And then PM for me, I don't know how accessible PM or like P Plus is nowadays, but I think that it's literally a phenomenal platform fighter. Great to play, great to watch, great community. Like, I think it just nails everything. But for me, Rivals is like the legal PM in a way, like the accessible PM, like and I don't mean in like a mean way either, but you get a lot of the stuff that you can get from PM, but there's like a good dev cycle. There's a lot of people backing it, a lot of people still streaming it. So I think it's a lot more. It's hard for me to put like Rivals 2 and PM on the same tier, because I consider them like really, really similar.
That's fair.
And then I think Rivals Workshop is like the lifeblood of couch co-op platform fighters. because I actually see a lot of people still boot up Rivals 1 just to play Workshop.
Just for Workshop.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a very, very intuitive, very like free flowing. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, with like the more I think about it, like I could probably boost my Rivals 1. I could boost it up.
I think the difference, I'm thinking so much about Workshop and you're thinking so much about like the base game.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think the base game was good, but it's definitely not S tier.
Yeah. Well, you know what the thing is too with my like Brawl take is like a lot of that too is based on subspace. I thought subspace was fantastic. You know what I mean? So if I have that criteria for that, then I can apply that to Rivals 1 and I will move it up.
Yeah.
You got me on that. I will move it up.
I kind of baited you. I was like, damn, MVS and C? I have MVS and C.
I wasn't changing my mind, bro.
I think beta MVS, I would have put an S. Release, I would have put in B tops. But now that end of service got announced, like you can't, you're on the downswing.
You are.
If you don't know Framemakers has been like kind of trying to create itself and get its game out. I think Framemakers would be more on the upswing.
I think Framemakers and Slap City are the same.
Kind of similar.
I played them both, and I think they're both the same.
But Framemakers is getting more content, technically.
Who's playing it?
And that's why we had him as a guest, guys. Give it up for EE, everybody.
Yeah, sir.
The first guest on potentially my content, and not the last.
There you go.
We might even get him back.
That's on Cosmos.
He's watching shows.
You know what you should have put on there?
Cosmos.
Raw minus.
Yeah.
Raw minus.
Chat told me I would have put it in A. I think Brawl Minus is very fun.
Yeah, that game.
One of the most fun experiences I've ever had in a platform fighter. You know, we in Hawaii, I'm sure Charles told you, we used to literally play Brawl Minus until sunrise. Like we'd finish grinding League, it'd be like 2 a.m. and we're like, Brawl Minus? And we would just have a rotation going until sunrise. So very enjoyable. I don't know if there's still like recent patches and stuff, but that's the big reason why I played Sheik in 4. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, really? Because
I played her in Brawl,
yeah,
but she sucked.
Okay.
And it was the same thing, like F tilt, F tilt,
And she
F
wasn't
tilt,
bad in 4,
up tilt, up tilt.
Yeah.
So it's like perfect pivot combos, but it was more so walking. So when I found out, I was like, oh, she can kind of do the same thing in 4. I was like, dude, I have to play her. Like, it's my Brawl Minus main.
That's great lore.
Yeah.
That's actually awesome.
Yeah, super nuts. So Cosmos still might want to get food. I say I'm not. I'm over it. Yeah, I'm over it. Thanks to EE for being a guest, giving us his opinion on platform fighters, and giving us a lot to talk about. But thank you guys for watching. Of course, I want to know what your favorite platform fighter is in 2025. Maybe it's something niche, maybe it's not even something on the list. But you can always tell me either in the chat, in the comments. Remember to like the video, drop a sub, on either platform. And I'll catch you guys at the next time. Peace!